Fellow Africans, in this video I wanna talk about the recent events that are taking place in Spain. I've already made one or two short videos about it, but I was deeply thinking and asking myself, why is it that 60,000 people would suddenly just invade a Spanish city, which is on the African land, on the Moroccan land? Why is it that 60? At least that's what we're getting from the internet. Of course, the numbers keep changing, and you cannot be so sure what's the exact number of Africans that supposedly have invaded this coastal city. I keep asking myself, what is it that this place has that would attract so many people at once? What is it that has suddenly happened in different African countries that has pushed so many people out to go and try and be in Europe? What is the hidden story about all these things that we are seeing on the internet? Historically, we can go back and look at the internet and find out how did Spain acquire this piece of land in the first place on the African continent and call it their own. I think Africans, we need to once in a while take time to reflect on these things, and not just reflecting but also understanding what it means, because the story that we have here is because of the so-called invasion is turning against mostly all Africans that are out in the diaspora, especially in Europe, because it all comes back to whenever you go out or people see you, they will say, yeah, it is because of you that we are having all these problems. That's not right. What is it that Africans have done that you deserve so much hate? I wonder. And if you look at many parts of Europe, there's always this talk about all the foreigners must go. But do you ever sit down and ask yourself, why do the Africans want to come over to your countries? Do you even care to understand the history of what these countries done in Africa? Do you ever ask yourself, what the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885 did to Africa, and what was the end goal of this. Now you come out and cry foul that Africans are invading your countries. Is this right? Are you for real? And Africans, my brothers and sisters, what is it that is pushing you to take all these risks? Dying in the Mediterranean Sea, drowning, all in the name of wanting to be in Europe for a better life. Listen, I'm not blaming you. I'm just asking these questions that do we ever take time to reflect before we embark on these dangerous, unfriendly journeys towards Europe? These questions we need to be asking ourselves. And what does this do to our identity? Leaving our own land just to be out there. Of course, you should also ask me why. What am I doing here in this part of the world that I'm not in Africa, my motherland? I should also be asking myself. I'm not just asking you, but it's also a personal question to myself. And with this rate of young people dying on the sea and a small percentage reaching Europe, what is this doing to our lovely continent? What's the end game? What are we going to achieve in 100 years? If we look back on this trend, what do we see? It's a topic that's very, very difficult to talk about, but I think it also deserves our time to reflect on. The next question goes to our African leaders. Why are you being so cruel to the extent that you deplete your own countries? You are being proud to be presidents of African countries, and yet you're leading people who are very, very poor, who cannot even manage a meal. And yet you are very powerful, you are very rich, and you can manage to send your children to other countries to learn. And if you are sick, you can simply board a plane and go out and get treated. Is this what you want to be remembered for, as a president of an African country? A president who killed his own country by depleting all the resources and giving them to your own families, and you leave everybody else to suffer. And now you see our young people dying on the sea because they cannot afford very difficult life that you guys have rendered us. What kind of a future are we going to have when all these young people they've died. That's our future that you're killing. Seeking answers. And it is time for all of us to be seeking for answers. And corruption is killing African countries. And this has killed our identity, because we have destroyed all the community living, the community love, being a brother's keeper. It's all gone. It's now each man for himself. Survival of the fittest. Those who can get into power, then they have everything. They don't care about everybody else. That's why we have all these problems with other countries chasing us and calling us names, because our leaders have failed us. At least the assumption is, if once I go to Europe, then I can manage to live a better life. Not only for me, but also for the family that I leave behind there. That's what our young people are going for. That's what they are dying for. They are not dying for themselves, they are dying for the entire family and the whole tribe, just to make it a little bit better. And our African countries and their leaders, our presidents, don't care. They know what's going on. They all hear all this news, and we hear nothing from them, because they know they are to blame. Anyway, Africans across the world, you know, this channel is all about African love and African unity. That's what I preach here. But today I just wanted to pour out things that are eating at my heart, triggered by what has just happened in Spain in regards to the Africans who are suffering there. Please support this channel, the Abundant African channel, by subscribing, sharing the videos. Hope to see you again in another video, where I will be talking more about the good side of Africa. Thanks for watching.